This is video number 6, and it's about standardized testing. The bottom line is that standardized testing doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't work. A student can go in knowing none of the answers, guess, and because it's multiple choice, get all of them right just because they're lucky. And that'll put them in an advanced range that they don't actually belong in, that they don't deserve to be in. And at the same time, you can have students who have been very dedicated to their work, who have taken the time to learn all the things that they should know, and when they're put in that test, in front of that test, they get nervous and they don't put down the right answers. They doubt themselves, or they take too long on questions and end up running out of time. And what this means is that students perform better or worse on the test, but it has nothing to do with what they actually know. It doesn't actually reflect their capabilities as a student. It doesn't reflect how well the teacher taught them. It just reflects their test-taking skills. Because test-taking is a skill, and that's all it is. It's not actually something that we need in life. It's not actually something that measures our knowledge. It's just about getting lucky and knowing how to take a test. The other thing is that when teachers are rated by these standardized test scores, it makes it so that they worry about the scores and not about their students' actual learning. They teach to the test instead of teaching to what their students need to learn. And students start ahead of each other or behind each other because of their parents. It's not just the teacher. I know that I went to schools in very poor areas because my parents wanted me to experience that, to know that. Even though my mom is an elementary school teacher and my dad has a PhD in education who teaches at Cal State LA, they wanted me to know what that's like because that's where they came from, because they were the students that they are now teaching. My dad at a graduate level and my mom in first, second, and third grade. But they understand that these kids, they're not performing poorly because they're dumb. They're not performing poorly because their teachers suck. They're performing poorly because their parents don't have time to read to them, because they don't have books at home, because their older siblings aren't reading, aren't studying. And it's not that they're necessarily hoodlums out on the street. That's not what I'm trying to say. But it's that the same culture that allows students to perform very well in school is not there for all students. And expecting all students to perform to one standardized way is ridiculous, because those students are individuals to begin with. Teachers know that students learn visually or auditory or hands-on or any other number of ways. But students are individuals. They learn differently. So to test them the same way, to test how much they know using the same method doesn't make sense, because some students might go in too nervous and some students might go in and just not care. And that's not right. You can't rate your teachers because students don't care or because they get nervous. You can't rate your teachers because their students come in from impoverished areas or come in from very rich areas. It just doesn't make sense. I know that my mother is a great teacher, but she teaches in poor areas because it's where she comes from. It's what she cares about. She cares about these kids tremendously. I know what she's capable of. I've seen her in a classroom and her kids love her. But the bottom line is she gets students that are at the bottom of the barrel. And it's not right to rate her teaching based on the way that those students perform, because those students are already behind everyone else. Those students are already suffering from so many conditions that aren't her fault, that she can't change. She can't make it so that their parents don't have to work 2 or 3 jobs to support their family. She can't make it so that their parents can be home, can read to their kids. She can't make it so that these parents speak English at home, because most of them don't speak English. They speak Spanish, or they speak English that is not at all the kind of English that is spoken in colleges and universities. And when students come from that environment, when students don't speak a certain type of English, when they don't understand certain things about the value of reading and the value of education, when their parents aren't there to provide them with that, then of course they're going to perform poorly on a test.